Relief printing is the oldest known printmaking process. In the relief process, the printmaker cuts away all parts of the printing surface that are not intended to carry ink. This leaves the design to be printed at the level of the plate's surface or in relief. The surface is then rolled with an even layer of ink, and the artist applies pressure to transfer the ink to the paper. You may remember making relief prints in kindergarten by cutting a potato in half and gouging a design out of its soft surface. There are a number of real-world examples of relief printing, from fingerprinting, to the skid marks left by car tires, to whatever your boots happen to track indoors. Woodcut, also known as woodblock printing, is the form of relief printing that dates back to ancient China. With this process, an artist begins with a soft wooden plank and then uses a variety of metal tools to gouge out the unwanted areas. Woodcut is characterized by the heavy amount of ink that the porous block is able to transfer. It is difficult to use this process to create subtle shifts or gradients of value. Because of this, artists often use woodcut to print simple, two-toned images. This results in a high level of contrast, such as black ink juxtaposed against white paper. The German artist Käthe Kollwitz produced many woodblock prints in addition to her prolific body of charcoal drawings. Although they are still self-portraits, these prints are quite different from her charcoal studies. Kollwitz trades the sumptuous value range of charcoal for the stark graphic quality of woodcut. As a result, these prints have a very bold sense of resolution. Because this process involves carving into an actual block of wood, some imperfections are often visible in the final print. All wood has a grain that flows in a particular direction. Cutting against the wood's grain can result in a splintering or chipping that will show up when printed. Kollwitz seems to embrace these imperfections in her prints. She establishes a correlation between the appearance of exposed wood grain and the weathered creases in her aging face. Although woodcuts are often printed in two tones, it is possible to create prints with a variety of colors. To create such variation, each color of the print requires its own separate block. Take, for example, this popular poster of Barack Obama made by the artist Shepard Fairey during the 2008 election. If he made this print as a woodcut, Fairey would first carve a block of wood to carry the red ink. He would then carve a separate block to carry the light blue ink, and finally a block to carry the dark blue ink. Consistency of prints within an edition is often a primary concern for printmakers. Maintaining consistency with multiple blocks takes a skill called registration. Registration is any way that an artist makes sure that the blocks are placed in the exact same position for the duration of the edition. Registration can be as simple as marking the exact placement of the blocks on the bed of the printing press. Without consistent registration, it is very easy for an image to lose its integrity. The 19th century Japanese printmaker Katsushika Hokusai was renowned for his complex and colorful woodcuts. This, one of his most famous series, depicts views of the Japanese landmark Mount Fuji from different vantage points. To create these impressive prints, he would use as many as 20 separate woodblocks. Even back then, Hokusai employed highly skilled printers to help him produce his complex work. Today, artists can go to print shops where talented printmakers help create editions of their images. This multi-block woodcut of a hill in San Francisco by Wayne Thiebaud would have been printed in such a shop. Instead of using the traditional relief process of woodcut, artists today can choose to work with the rubbery material of linoleum. This process is known as linoleum cut or lino cut. To make a lino cut, an artist must gouge the image out of the linoleum in the same manner as with woodcut. Again, the areas that are intended to be blank are removed from the block. To print in multiple colors, an artist still needs to cut and register multiple linoleum blocks. One advantage of linoleum over wood is that the material is softer and therefore easier to carve. It also has no visible grain that can affect the final image. Because it has no grain, linoleum can be cut with equal ease in any direction. The 20th century African American artist Elizabeth Catlett has made a prolific body of linoleum cut prints. These images have the same graphic quality of woodcuts as they display aspects of the artist's cultural history as well as her identity.